Today we'll start with our video watch. Just re-released on video is the movie Gremlins, though I really can't imagine why. Now, I know some people found this movie fun, but me, I'd rather spend 2 hours having root canal work done. What's fun about a movie full of ugly, slimy, mean-spirited, gloppy little monsters who run amok and attack innocent people? Our moviegoers so desperate for entertainment that this kind of trash can pass for fun. Whoa, wait a minute!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We're a creature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Pasco, and with me is
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
How's it going, Khalid?
Good. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing really nice. It's like full-on summer here now in Minnesota. Like we got no more dipping below 50. It was like 80.
Oh,
I know.
And y'all are messing with the humidity too.
Yeah.
That's what I always think about. Is like 80 in California sucks, but you're under a shade and you can make it work.
Yeah, it was like a really hot, humid day today too. Like there was like no cloud in the sky. It was
inescapable.
Yeah, it was rough, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. How are you, Khalid?
Great, man. I just directed for the first time out here.
Hell
yeah.
It
was a pretty fun project. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We still got a little bit more to shoot and stuff, so I'll inform all the Franken friends when it's more in a place to announce. But needless to say, the shoot was very fun, and everybody had good things to say about it.
I'm excited to see the final project, and I'm sure our fans are eagerly anticipating what this becomes. So keep us in the loop, Khalid.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it. Yeah. I'm excited as well.
Yeah. I am also super excited, Khalid, to bring in our guest for the day.
Yeah, who dat?
Back from who's been on the podcast a few times is Dominic Burgess, actor who's been in a number of things from Star Trek to Doctor Who to Star Wars. I just named your nerdy properties, but you've been in a ton of stuff. Welcome back, Dominic.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
We're so happy to have you back.
Welcome.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to be back. Thank you. I already said thank you for having me, but thank you for having me once more.
Yeah.
Can't be said enough how thankful you are.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful. Third time. Thank you so much.
We're all full of thanks today, aren't we? How you been, Dominic?
I've been good in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, I can't complain. Busy and yeah. Life, we had the fires in LA at the start of the year, and I think the industry as a whole is struggling a little bit. Video games are on strike right now. The commercial contracts are up with SAG-AFTRA. A lot of stuff is going overseas to film, so it's a little bit of a turbulent time. But I'm sure, as things always do, it swings and roundabouts, and things will get back to normal, or whatever normal is now.
Yeah, I feel like we just constantly live in unprecedented times, like always keeping to one up each other somehow.
Yeah.
But I did name some of your. I felt like I named some of your classic projects. Like, you'd since been in Doctor Who and Star Trek when we talked last. Star Wars is new for you, though, right? The Skeleton Crew.
I mean, in theory, yes. We shot it a long time ago. When did it aired? I think December last year.
I think so.
January of this year. I think we were filming that in 2021, 2022. It was a long old while ago. We shot that, I think, while I was in parallel with Palm Royale, and that aired a whole sort of 12 months before Star Wars did, and that was even still a long process. But yeah, now it's out in the world, and I got my holy trifecta trinity of sci-fi shows. And now I'll move on to some more fantasy stuff, hopefully, because Buffy's coming back, and I've got my eyes on Buffy.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do Buffy.
Yeah.
And then I think Ryan Coogler is in talks to reboot the X-Files, so that will be on my wish list. Yeah, all fun stuff.
Amazing. I feel like there's got to be. There's like lists I've seen, like, actor who's appeared in like Trek Wars and Doctor Who, and like you got to be on those lists now. Like, right?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty. Someone else mentioned that the other day. I think it's a pretty small
Yeah.
list. It might be like 8 or 9 people. Um, I'm sure that
Amazing.
things will change now that a lot of Star Wars productions like Andor
Yeah.
are being shot in the UK. But that's okay. I don't mind if they join us.
It's a great. I mean, Simon Pegg, I think, is on that list. So like, you're contemporary with him.
Yeah,
Uh,
You're, dude,
Yeah.
Um,
amazing. You're gonna be in like sci-fi nerd
Yeah.
Valhalla. Like,
I'm doing in August this year. I'm doing my very first convention,
Ooh.
which I'm super excited about. I've never done that. That is Rebel Scum Con in Dallas. So yeah, it's exciting. I don't go to a lot of cons myself in person. Sometimes I go to Transformers Con, which is in Burbank, in the convention center here in Burbank, but it's pretty small. I get a little anxious in crowded spaces, so we'll see how I do.
Best of luck.
Oh, thank
So
you.
aside from your like geeky like sci-fi properties, like what other work have you been up to that maybe you want to plug?
There is my first video game that
Ooh.
I worked on is coming out in June. That's called Mind's Eye. And again, we started working on that way back in 2021. So we've been working on that for 4 years. And we did the whole thing, the whole motion capture, a whole lot of voiceover sessions. And it was a wonderful, delightful experience. I'm excited to see how it comes out because I think there's a few missions where you have to protect my character. Those ones where they're like, "Don't let that character die." So I did a whole lot of sessions where I'm like, "Oh no, I'm being shot at! Save me!" But better than that, better than the performance I just gave you. Uh, and then some voiceover stuff I don't think I'm allowed to talk about uh, just yet. And then in a couple of weeks' time, I go back and do some reshoots on a show called Criminal, which will be on Amazon later this year, which is based off a comic book series, a graphic novel series.
nice, keeping busy.
Yeah, as busy as I can. As busy,
Hey,
more. I love working, so I'm just happy to be working where I can.
it's a blessing for sure. But yeah, no, you're a hard worker. It's really cool to see. Been seeing all the awesome posts online too, just all the projects. It's awesome.
Thank you so much.
So any listeners who've clicked on this episode will know already what our topic is, and we'll be at length talking about our guy Gizmo, right? The gremlin that we all love, the Mogwai we love. But Khalid, I have a question for you.
All right, hit me.
What kind of car does our fuzzy little friend Gizmo drive?
A gremlin?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Gizmo is a Mogwai. I'm stuck on like something with like Mazda, like Mogwaizda. What is it?
A Ferrari.
It was easier than I was making it.
I think Gremlin is pretty good. I think that was a pretty good
That was
answer.
probably better. That was better, honestly.
As soon as he said car, I was like, yeah, it's the gremlin.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And that's a segue, Khalid. What are we talking about?
Thanks for asking, Joe. Today we're talking about Gremlins 2, the new batch. It's a 1990s, I guess, comedy fantasy film directed by Joe Dante. And I've got a synopsis from your homeboy Khalid, me. And it goes a little something like this. In a noble yet misguided attempt to gentrify a New York block, innocent entrepreneur Daniel Clamp is besieged by the worst thing a CEO can imagine, letting his employees leave work early. This riveting sequel to the original film follows Billy and Kate as they hit the big city with Gizmo and company to laugh in the face of everyone who thought they had a good idea what Gremlins was about. Not Murray Futterman, though. He been new.
What a monster.
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
Nice, Khalid. Nice. Very good. Very good. A little bit of background before we dig into some thoughts on this movie. I was digging into this and learning some more, but Joe Dante did initially decline to return to the sequel for a long time, and then production actually started on the sequel. Ideas of like bringing the Gremlins to Las Vegas or even Mars, but everything kept falling through. And then once it like fell through like enough times, they went back to Joe Dante again, who actually agreed as long as he had complete creative control and triple the budget of the first one. He came back with the idea of like, okay, if I'm going to make this, it's going to be a satire of Gremlins itself and sequels in general, which is kind of a fun like outlook to have and very evident as we watch the movie. Also, interesting fun fact: unlike the first one, this was one of the among other films that helped the MPAA establish the PG-13 rating, because they were kind of like, oh, it's too violent for PG, but not quite an R, so we got to do something in the middle here. So thank you, Gremlins 2, for that, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into some thoughts. Dominic, you are a Gremlins fanatic. I know this. What do you think of Gremlins 2?
I love Gremlins 2. It's one of my comfort films. It's something that I can just throw on in the background. I like that it's not just a retread of the original film. And oh boy, let me take you back to 1990. I begged my parents to take me to see this at the cinema, and I'd never been to the cinema before. My parents weren't big cinema goers, and I saw the billboards and the commercials on TV, and I begged and I cried, and I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and they wouldn't let me go and see it. And I'd seen Gremlins 1 so many times because on a Friday night, my parents would go to the local video store and I would just switch out Gremlins and Transformers the movie week after week. And they were just the two films that I would watch. And I think I ended up getting it on VHS, but I don't think I've ever seen it on the big screen. I've seen the first one on the big screen a whole bunch of times, but I would love the chance to see Gremlins 2 on the big screen.
Amazing. How about you, Khalid? You've seen this before, right?
Once before. You got me hooked with Gremlins back in the day when we watched it for the podcast, and my roommate Robbie is a huge Gremlins and Gremlins 2 fan. So when he heard I liked the first one, he was like, "We got to throw two on." So we watched it, and I'll be honest, that first time it was like overload stimulation wise. So I walked away kind of like, this feels like I ate like Gremlins is like I ate a cookie for the first time, and then Gremlins 2 is like a conveyor belt of never ending cakes that I have to eat in one bite. And I was just like overwhelmed. But this time around watching it, I was just really charmed by it. I think it helped that I like didn't watch the first one and to lead into this. I kind of just let it stand on its own, and like I had the general idea from what I remembered of the first one. And so watching it this time, it was just like I was really just taken away by the production value. And it makes so much sense what you're saying about like Joe Dante would only do it if like he had complete control and triple the budget. It shows, and thank God. Like I'm always a fan of those like behind the scenes stories where it's just like a creative was like, look, if we're gonna do this, if you're forcing me to do this, everything is my way. And I love when it pays off. And so yeah, I mean, we'll get into the specifics of it, but like I was just all in from the very beginning. It's really hard to justify sequels with fantastical premises because it's so much about like you're taking somebody from a regular place and putting them into something. So like by the second time around, it's like you have to work even harder to like still make them relatable. But I think Billy is just such a fun blank slate of a character for the most part. Like his problems don't feel real, like the job he has and everything, and like the problems that he's like presented. Well, you got to draw trees. I don't wanna. Like it's very endearing and like low stakes enough that like it helps you buy in quicker to the scenario that they've got. And then by the time the Gremlins come in and just like really go like ape shit, you're on board and you're primed for it in a way that I completely changed my verdict. I am a Gremlins 2 fan now. This movie slaps. What say you, Joe?
I agree with you all. I hadn't seen this one actually, so this is my first time watching it. Loved Gremlins also
Yeah.
growing up and loved it on the rewatch, but I just never dug into this one. But it is just the approach that they had to this, like making it this like satire of like everything and being like breaking the fourth wall like regularly, just eh, making it such a completely different just like beast than the first one. Yet it still kind of it works, like it still works as a sequel, like it's continuing those threads and stuff. But it is so funny. I love the monstery elements, which we'll get into. Like they really up the stakes with like what the Gremlins can become with all the weird potions, bringing in like genre veterans like Christopher Lee was just delightful to see him there. Like he was a blast. Uh, yeah, I'm just gonna sing its praises, but like I was laughing pretty significantly throughout the movie. Like there was a lot of great moments, great bits, funny. Like we said this in the previous episode, how much like it's like Looney Tunes, right? And there's the Chuck Jones cameo in the first one, but that's like, I mean, this is like doubles down on that. Like it's definitely like a Looney Tunes, to the point where we even had the Looney Tunes like cartoon in the beginning. You guys saw that, right? Like that was
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Like Chuck Jones, I think, didn't he like come out of retirement to produce that little cartoon, which is wonderful. Like just a nice story. But yeah, there was great. Like there was so many I wrote them down like as I was watching it, but like subtle bits in this that made me laugh so much, like things that weren't like obvious in your face jokes, like the Canadian restaurant bit. Like everything about that was so funny. I don't just even down to the story where Billy's just talking about how much he loved to draw, and then the other woman's just like, I had crayons too, and then moving on. So funny.
It's amazing. It feels so theatrical, is like the way to put it. Like I think the first one felt grounded in a way that at the time you were like, yeah, no, this is like good for what it's trying to do. And then you see this and you go, oh no, they were too trepidatious in the first one. They clearly had aspirations and they let them fly in this one.
Right. Um, I'm curious. So one of the things that I also found really funny was like the interrogation of like the Gremlins rules. You can't feed them after midnight, right? You can't get them wet, and you can't expose them to like bright lights. And then there's the part where he's talking to like the office or the tower like security people, and they're just like questioning the rules, like what if he has a something in his teeth, or what if a gremlin's like eats in an airplane and changes time zones. Like that was so funny. But I'm also curious, like Dominic, as like a Gremlin super fan, like do you love that kind of stuff, like that's just poking fun of it, or you're kind of like
Yeah, because I think, they set up the tone of the
yeah
film so readily, and it's poking fun at itself and questions that I would point out from the first. I love the first film,
yeah
but then I'm like, well, hold on, they're running through the snow, so when the snow melts while they're running through the snow, isn't that technically getting wet? Why aren't they multiplying? But you let that stuff go, and they deal with it in such a charming way that the writers are having fun and they're pointing out the things, and then right away a gremlin jumps out of the console, and
that was great.
it that when that gremlin comes out, that's like a pretty vicious attack when that one comes out, and then you sort of get tonal whiplash where you have these like goofy ones jumping out of pots, and then they have the fun callback to the microwave, and I find it so endearing. It's like it wears its heart on its sleeve, and the puppetry is so good, and it just there's so many elements in there that should not work and be cohesive, where you've got this mad scientist lab on floor 57, and you've got this billionaire mogul, and you've got the secret entrance that comes up and down on the street, and then you've got a bat gremlin, and you've got an electric gremlin, and but it works. It's so fun and so silly that I'm fully on board. I'm in.
Oh yeah, great call on bringing Dick Miller back, right?
Hmm.
Khalid and
Yes.
I were talking about that
Yes.
off like before we started. Like he, well, actually, Khalid, why don't you just take this? Well, your Murray Futterman appreciation time is here.
Yeah, as you'll see, Dominic, my name is Murray GD Futterman in the Zencaster chat.
Uh-huh.
Um, Nothing but respect for our king. This guy, he truly, in terms of like using a sequel to like really redeem yourself, he brings it. Because the first movie, he's really played as a joke, and in this sequel, he's the only one doing it right. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't underestimate those things for a second. Billy decidedly like you know what the worst case scenario is. Like, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving the Mogwai? Like, why are you risking anything? You know what I mean? So I love that they have someone like Butterman there that's just like, this is his nom. You know what I mean? Like, he's a vet. He's been in the shit. He's not here to play. And he just adds like a propulsiveness to all of this. And like, one, it's rewarding for people who have seen the first movie, but also like, it's a nice like progression for his character that also helps like wrap things up in a logical way. You know what I mean? Because like they're still for whatever reason trying to keep it all under wraps, which like I don't know, man. I love Gizmo as much as the next guy, but maybe he does belong in like a government facility. Like he's basically a zombie like patient zero, like in terms of like the damage he can do. But I like that like obviously movie rules, we got to keep him secret. He's RET, so it worked, and I think Futterman just really adds to the credibility of it all.
When he fights the winged gremlin, that was cool.
That was badass. He didn't like hesitate for a second. He was like, "Oh no, I know what this is."
Yeah, I also love it's like a hard to describe because Gremlins 1 is very firmly an 80s movie, like that Amblin style 80s, you know, but like in some sense, even though this one's like a 1990 movie, it almost feels like more 80s, you know, with just like the sort of like urban yuppie culture that's on display, like frozen yogurt and like all that stuff. Like I mean, I know that's probably partially carried into the 90s as well, but like I was like watching this, like this feels like so 80s, you know, like 80s
Really, I
futuristic.
don't get that. I feel like this is kind of timeless.
Yeah,
That it doesn't exist
interesting.
in a firm place, I guess.
I feel like the aesthetics give me like
When I
RoboCop a little bit sometimes, like the inside of the tower. That's what I was
uh-huh.
thinking of. Yeah.
When I was in New York, I was filming in New York, and I made a point to go and visit some of the locations.
Yeah.
So I found Clamp Towers near the Met Building, um, and yeah, made a point to do a Gremlins pilgrimage.
That is so cool. Wait, so you visited like the actual place?
Yeah, it's a building just around. Do you know? Gosh, I don't know how to describe it because I don't know New York all too well. The bridge that the Avengers fight on in the Avengers.
Oh,
It's sort of just to one side of that. And yeah, it's the building. All they did was put like the big C outside with the world being crushed, which I think is such a
I do
good
love that. Yeah.
logo. It's just like the clamp network and the globe being crushed. It's such a clever film.
Hmm.
Uh, I think you could look at it and just say like, oh, it's so silly, it's so dumb, but there's such care and attention put in there, and I can watch it over and over again and just pick a different gremlin to watch in the background and what they're doing. And every time I watch it, I'm always intently listening because there's always fun lines of ADR that are going on. Um, it's just what a joyful film.
Absolutely. Yeah, and to your point about the logo and the tower, like it's also just like really clever in terms of like creating a sense of scale to like, up the stakes to be in the big city, right? From the first movie. But like setting it in this like I don't know, smart tower, like it just, I mean, you don't have to like use all these like outside locations and like all this other spaces. Like it just seemed like a really clever way to like make the sense of scale bigger, but probably not have to make too much like extra space and extra sets, when you're thinking of that on that location here. Like I don't know, I thought it was really smart and interesting because like the scale felt big, even though we probably only see like a
Yeah,
few spaces, right?
and
Yeah,
I
it's like
think
four stages.
it carries on the themes of the first one quite
Yeah.
nicely. That technology is going to take over, and Peter's dad was this inventor, and you have all that stuff in the first film where he's at that sort of convention with all technology, and he's got his smokeless ashtray, and I think it just ups the stakes of all the themes that the first one digs into as well.
It really does, yeah. The John Glover character, Clamp himself, was kind of interesting. I'd read that he was supposed to be more of like an evil villain, but then like they kind of gave the more like dickish mentalities to like the Robert Picardo character, and they made Clamp more of like just a doofus. Because he was kind of written to be like a composite of like Trump and Ted Turner at the time, like real estate mogul and like the guy who like created CNN, but which they kind of do with like real estate and like TV network. But he was an interesting character. What do you guys think of him?
I
I
liked him.
love him.
I think it was smart to not just have him be the outright
Yeah,
villain. It adds like a little like layer of quirk, especially at the end when he like kind of gives like the vampire guy the dream of his job, and also the dude that was on a studio tour. I don't know that he was applying for any job when he first came into the
okay.
movie, but now he's a cameraman for the news.
Oh
Um,
yes, that's Getty Watanabe. Um, he's incredible. He does a lot of voiceover work, and I did a pilot with him a few years ago, and it's all I could talk about. I was like, "Oh my gosh, tell me about Gremlins 2." And he's had
oh
this
man,
illustrious career, and I was just harping on him like, "Tell me about Gremlins." Um, yeah, I love John Glover too. I think he plays it in such a fun, affable way that is very easy to go into a trope. And I think he does a wonderful job, and Robert Picardo as well, who is a wonderful foil uh, to Billy. And yeah, there's no real villain per se in the film, because I don't consider the Gremlins villains or
Yeah,
bad guys. They just want to have a little fun.
yeah.
Um, so it's yeah.
I mean, one of them does pull out a live firearm on television.
It's true, but in a joyful way, Kelly,
He's
in a
having a good
joyful
time,
way.
Khalid.
Yeah, he's making a
Fair.
point. He's
Who am I to poo poo a good time? It's the '90s in New York.
civilized.
Sometimes a gun gets pulled out.
Well, there's so many echoes to the first film too, because in the first film, I think it's Stripe that pulls out a gun when they're playing poker in Dory's tavern, and so there's little similarities, and the sort of flashing gremlin that
Oh
makes an
yeah,
appearance again. There's all these little fun callbacks that are joyful as well.
I was really excited when when we were doing the podcast for the first movie, and you were kind of telling me, Dominic, about how they like play on Kate's like Santa Claus story. And when
Yes.
she's just like going into this like, oh, Lincoln's birthday.
Yeah.
That was very funny.
And it's the reactions, not only that, which is hilarious, but it's the reactions then of the other characters around her, that it's like, oh, this isn't just the second story. This is, oh, she's got monologues for
She
days.
does this.
They've all heard her stories. And I think it's just such a fun twist on that, because I know in reading about Gremlins, Joe Dante had to really fight to keep that monologue in the first film, and so then to be able to twist it and play with it in that way too is also delightful.
Yeah.
I just love his comedic sensibility. I love the team that put this together. I mean, the comedy really this time around especially just like reminded me of like Top Secret or the cop one. What is it? Naked
Naked
Gun.
Gun, yeah.
Like, again,
It reminded me of those like joke a minute things even before the Gremlins showed up, and like such a just like I feel like people take it for granted how hard it is to like punchline joke, punchline joke, punchline joke, like that smoothly, that for that long. But like when you have tried to write funny things, like you really like key into like, oh, they're like the Harlem Globetrotters. They're making this look like foolishly easy. But
there's
yeah, I
so
just
much there's so much just crazy stuff that you might sit there and be like, why? Like when Billy gets arrested and they're coming out of the police station, and there's just mimes coming out of the
Oh
Yeah.
my god,
police
the
truck. It's like,
mimes.
why? Well, I want to know where that came from, if it was in the script or just on the day someone was like, you know what would be funny? If mimes came out of the SWAT truck. And it's such an odd visual, but I love it, and it's so stupid.
I'd love to just give a moment to the flowers for the production design. That office looks amazing. Like the way that it's just so it reminded me a lot of like German expressionist like art set design, where like the whole point was like just like harsh angles and stuff like that, and like really just like going for broke. And so I don't know. I like it because it feels almost like a send up of like those like 90s movies that would like lament capitalism and an office job and stuff by like really just like taking it to like a comical extreme. I'd work there. Honestly, you know what? That drawing of your town is cute, but it doesn't match the motif. He's right. Like we let that slide, and what next? Like live, laugh, love mugs? Come on. We're going for a theme here.
Khalid's team Robert Picardo.
I fear I am, or at the very least, I've been so beaten by our current like work environment that I would love a Robert Picardo now.
So just to clean up a little bit, that's all.
You're right, Robert Picardo. I don't need this drawing.
I love Robert Picardo. I'm a big fan of Star Trek Voyager as well, and so I was very excited when he was in that show.
Had you seen him in Gremlins 2 prior to Star Trek, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I ended up getting the VHS of Gremlins 2 and pretty much wore it out. And I was aware of him from Total Recall as
Oh yeah,
well
yeah.
as Johnny Pad. Yeah, he pops up in a lot of fun 80s things. He's in Inner Space
Yeah.
as well.
And The Howling.
Oh gosh, I haven't seen
Also
The Howling in
Doctor,
a
yeah.
long time. Huh. Yeah, he's a delightful performer and fun to see him with a head of hair.
Yeah, right.
in
You got good hair.
Yeah. That was almost jarring at first for me. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I do remember him from Voyager.
Mm-hmm. He's the Doctor, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
Doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. There's just like a cavalcade of like really fun like actors that are coming through this movie. Like there was the what's his name? John Aston Gomez from Addams Family, who was the janitor.
Mhm.
Like that was a really fun mini cameo. I mean, who else do we have? Christopher Lee,
Hulk
like I
Hogan.
said. That was the Hulk Hogan one. That was goofy.
I will say, like at the time, that joke probably was gangbusters, and I get it, and it's still
it's Slade. Yeah.
in that with that context. I was like dying laughing because yeah, like
On the
every
Hulk Hogan one,
Yeah.
the Hulk Hogan one.
we didn't have Hulk Hogan in the UK version.
Was it the VHS? That's right. You said it's VHS. I read
Um,
they changed that whole sequence for VHS releases.
I think
What?
we had like a Western film section
Ah.
that was like a black and white John Wayne-esque Western. For whatever reason, Hulk Hogan did not come to the UK version of Gremlins 2.
That's so funny. Had you seen this Hulk Hogan version before rewatching it recently then?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I'm aware because I have the disc here, and so I've been aware that there were two versions, and I probably, at the dawn of the internet, done a Gremlins 2 deep dive and been like, look,
It's
and
different.
I'm a sucker for deleted scenes and additional material. That's one of my favorite things on discs. Whenever I get a film, I'm always like, well, I want to see what was deleted, and I want to see what the storytellers were thinking, and yeah, that's my jam.
Yeah, that's so you have the disc. They haven't made like a good 4K upgrade of this yet. I know the original one has.
I
Have
think
they?
it's coming.
Is it coming?
I think it's coming this year. Yeah, I think they announced it
Great.
this year because it's 35 years old.
Yeah.
This year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1990. Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think, um, I because it's practical effects, I always think that it holds up better
Mm-hmm.
when there's a 4K disc or something's upgraded because the practical effects look so good. I think if you go back and you look at 90s films that have early CGI. When it's a 4K disc, it's like, oh, what did we watch the other night? We were watching Deep Blue Sea, which I
Yeah.
love, and the practical shark effects hold up, and it looks beautiful, and you can see the texture on the shark's skin, and then the digital effects are really where it's like, oh no, I can see that this was made in 1993. Um, but still, it's still charming. But the puppetry in this and the way that they did this, and they had the larger scale models of the Mogwais for
Hmm.
the eyes and the close ups, and there's a wonderful Instagram account I think called Gremlins Museum
Ooh.
that I follow, and they get all of these original pieces, and they try and save the latex that's flaking, and restore them. It's just to have that care and depth of just this little creature, and then 8 puppeteers doing fingers and eyes and ear twitches and mouths. And it's just it's the magic of filmmaking. I think the only real big visual effect, I guess, would be the Bat Gremlin when he's outdoors that they sort of composite on, and then the electric
The
Gremlin.
lightning one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but the rest is so just tangible. You can feel it through the screen, which I
I
love.
really feel like we've just really like gotten we just did our previous episode we just did before this was Labyrinth, and I feel like we've
Mm.
just been like spoiled with just puppetry over the past couple weeks. It's amazing. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Khalid? Sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the other VFX one, or I don't know if it's VFX technically, but like when he's like when Gizmo's running from the demolished
Yeah,
building, it's just
Yeah.
like a rear projection. I was just like, I could watch like 40 more minutes of
that
this.
was pretty adorable. Yeah.
Just him running from clearly green screen backgrounds.
On that note, should we just monster it up, you guys? Should we talk about the monster stuff, creature stuff?
Let's
Let's
monster.
do it.
Yeah.
So, Dominic, you covered a good amount of it, but like it's kind of interesting to get into the background of this movie. So, like Chris Wallace, who did the effects in the first film, wasn't able to return or chose not to return to this one because he was trying out directing, which he did The Fly too. So Rick Baker stepped in for this one, and Baker, I think initially didn't want to, as he was like, I don't want to like just redo what's already been done. And so he came in with the mentality of like he wants to make the Gremlins feel more distinct and more diverse. They did redesign the Gizmo puppet a little bit. It's actually bigger, and they redesigned the head so that's better at conveying close-up emotions for face shots. And as you mentioned, Dominic, they did create like double size scale puppets for the ones that were like close-ups of just the puppets. But it is cool to like note like the unique specific like gremlin characters. So the first 4 that come out of Gizmo after he gets wet are pretty distinct, but they are named. There's George and Lenny, who are named after the Amice Men characters. There's Daffy and then Mohawk. And then as they turn into like, the Gremlins, they we did a lot of really cool unique ones. Like there's one that's part vegetable, there's the professor, the talking one, I think it's called Brain Gremlin, I think.
I think so.
What was it, Dominic?
Yeah, Brain.
Brain,
That's right.
yeah.
You got it.
The Bat Gremlin you guys talked about, the Spider Gremlin, which was gnarly, the female Gremlin, the Lightning Gremlin. Like they kind of went all out with some like unique ones. Like I don't think the goal was to sell toys, but they totally could have been selling toys.
Oh, they sold toys, all
I'm sure
right.
that they did.
It's on my
It's
shelves.
on your shelves.
I mean, this is no brainer merchandising here. Like,
Absolutely.
go for
I mean,
broke.
it's like
Yeah,
almost
it's
the
just
plot of the movie.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
you just in the first movie, it's like you're like hoping they can stop it from happening to an extent. Here, it's like, why would you want them to?
Yeah, it's great. For the voices, they got Howie Mandel back for Gizmo. Frank Welker was Mohawk, and they got Tony Randall to be the voice of the Brain Gremlin. So there's some pedigree there, which was pretty fun.
Yeah, Frank Welker's my Transformers
Frank
guy.
Welker rules. Yeah, it's great. Did you guys have a favorite non-Gizmo Gremlin that appeared?
Oh, I mean, I love the Mohawk Gremlin,
Mm-hmm.
and Daffy. He's the
Yeah.
the guy with the eyes everywhere who Kate originally brings back to the apartment, and they have that
Yeah.
gorgeous shot of him eating corn, and just throwing chicken when the Futtermans come. Uh, yeah, he was always really endearing to me. He sort of drops out of the film,
Mhm.
unfortunately, when he turns into the gremlin, and then he sort of only really then pops back up in the dentist's office and in the kitchen
Oh
where he
yeah.
pops out of the cooking pot. But yeah, there's so many gremlins to keep tabs of on. Yeah.
Which one was the one that Daniel Clamp killed? Because that one was pretty intense. The gremlin that he like puts in the shredder.
I don't know what that one was.
Oh, yeah, his receptionist is outside, and he's like, "What should we do today? Oh, let's do memos."
Yeah,
Uh, and then it's so stupid because he just puts a mousetrap inside a
yeah.
sandwich, and then you just hear the snap of the like you wouldn't realize that there's a mousetrap in your sandwich. Uh,
That's that's how I eat sandwiches. I just
yeah,
tongue first, just big chomp.
uh-huh. It's messy and it's gross, and he puts him through the paper shredder, and it's gunky, and I adore it.
It was such a well executed sequence. I that was my standout gremlin.
That was great. So that sequence and the scene where Robert Picardo had the female gremlin coming onto him, they had to have both those actors like be the puppeteers for those scenes too,
Mhm.
which was kind of a cool.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
because I mean they're so close to him and they're like right there in their faces, like they basically just did the puppeteering, so they're like fighting with themselves. So just thinking about that is like a almost a more fun like to think about the acting wise that was going on there.
That must have been so fun to shoot.
I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Like, what a fun set to be involved in. And again, just when Christopher Lee is in the hallway, and there's just cows running in the background with sort of machines on their head, and I'm sure it was so chaotic, but so fun.
Yeah, I have to imagine like everybody hopefully was just having a blast. Like how could you not with all those puppets?
I mean, I can imagine when there's puppetry involved, the minutia and the specificity is
Yeah.
going to be making the days really long. But oh, I would love to be in a Gremlins project. I hope they do. You know, they keep talking about doing a Gremlins 3, and I hope they do, and I hope that they keep it to puppets. I sorry if I'm jumping
No,
ahead
you're fine.
of what we can talk about. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I hope that wherever it goes, that they keep with the same sort of style of puppetry.
So that's kind of I feel like that's kind of Dante's perspective. So I was like reading some interviews with him in preparation for this too, and he actually reflected on how he was glad that he didn't do the sequel right away and that there was time. Like, what year the first one come out was 80 84,
84,
I thought.
maybe?
Yeah, so it was like 6 years. And so like he's like, we were able to still do the puppets, but like add so much more like technologically to like make the puppets better. And so like to your point, Dominic, if they are making a 3 now, like I absolutely, it has to be puppets. Like it's not, I don't feel like it's in keeping with the spirit if it's not. But like you could use like all sorts of new kinds of like technology to like make the puppetry like more interesting or do some other different stuff and like upgrade that in some way. And like that would be cool. Like I'd be all for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for practical effects.
Yes.
Any time, always. I always think that it looks better. It doesn't age as much.
Hmm.
And I just think it's charming. I think it's better for the actors too to be able to perform with something, as opposed to tennis balls on sticks and green screens and filled in later.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
It's so fun to watch them move too. Like truly, like they're like such stubby little creatures, but like I can't get enough of it whenever they're on camera and they've got them moving across tables and stuff. Every time, I love it.
Yeah, it's inventive filmmaking. Like when the twins are like, "Oh, he loves this song," and he starts dancing, and the puppetry involved in that, and then they do the clever angle to show him sort of starting to run away, and it's just it's clever and it's artful, and I think digital strips that away a little
Yeah,
bit. There's such joy, like I said, in when things get chaotic in the first film and in this one. In the first film, wherein they're in the cinema towards the end, and everyone's there's care and attention to what gremlins have got on their heads and their ears and what they're wearing. And in this one, just watching any section the background is such a fun time, and I think if you do it digitally, then it just sort of becomes less magical. I think if someone can just be like, render this gremlin with a leather jacket. Okay, that'll do. Render, I don't know. Maybe I'm being mean to visual effects artists. I love you.
Yes. No, there yeah, there's charm to digital stuff as well, like we've talked about, but like yeah, like when you're making this giant sea of gremlins and like in the finale, like somebody had to make each thing and I'm sure they're like oh, they want each one to be cool, right? So they got to do something unique.
Yeah, if I was on that team making a gremlin, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to town on my gremlin.
Yeah, and I mean there is definitely like a world where like animating something like this still works. Obviously, like we talked about Looney Tunes and like Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny right at the top of this as being inspiration. I do think though that like because of the way that this started as kind of championing puppetry in the first two, it would be doing more of like to honor it by continuing that. I think that changing it the medium up now would just feel like a corner cut more than anything else and not like a creative like drive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That so there are talks about making the 3, right? Is Joe Dante involved in this? Do we know?
Not as far as I am aware. I feel like it pops up every few years.
Mhm.
Like, oh, Gremlins 3 is in the works. And I think the most recent one popped up maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and it popped up at the same time as Goonies 2.
Ah.
That's like, oh, Goonies 2 and Gremlins 3 are now in production. Um, so who knows? It tends to come along and fizzle out. And I know that the actor Zach Galligan, uh,
Mm.
he's expressed interest in doing it, and he's always very gung ho about doing Gremlins. I don't know if Phoebe Cates would come back because she seems to have retired from acting, but I think she's wonderful, and I would love to see her
Yeah.
come back. Um, and I would love to see Billy's mum come back because she's a fantastic actress. The one in the first film who is like, "Get out of my
Yeah, she was great.
kitchen." And she plays Dewey's mom in the first Scream, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's her!" I love her. I would love her to come back to the Scream series. I like her.
Yeah, that would,
I mean, people just keep coming back to that, so I think eventually she might.
She'll be back.
yeah. Um so a couple more things about the effects like you were saying Dominic, there are a couple like non-practical or it's practical-ish. The bat gremlin was stop motion animation that was pretty cool. I thought that turned out still pretty good, but the lightning gremlin was like kind of traditional animation that they were able to kind of superimpose back on. That was pretty cool as well. I thought the use of like the digital was fine enough here overall. um but yeah, it was good. Speaking of like the other like future projects, have you checked out the TV show, the animated show on Max?
I haven't. I know it has 2 seasons. I think I watched the first 2 episodes,
Hmm.
and it didn't really gel for me at that point. Sometimes I have beef with prequels.
Yeah.
I guess sometimes I think they're done gloriously. I'm watching Andor right now, and it's blowing my
Oh
mind, and I
yeah.
love it so much.
So good.
Um, Sometimes I don't know if I needed to know where the Gremlins came from. I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to it when I have an afternoon, and I'm like, I'm gonna go back in.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
No, I kind of didn't realize it was out yet. Like, it's yeah, it's got I'm just looking at the voice cast. It's like kind of banging. Like a lot of great like actors in this, and even John Glover is in the show at some point as a recurring
Oh,
actor. Yeah, I don't
really?
know if he's the same. He's not the
Was
same
it
character.
tie? Oh,
It
he's
says
not.
John
I was gonna
Glover as
say
Rodney. So
if it ties into the originals, then I'd be like, okay, now I
well,
have
someone
to.
else is Lady Clamp. I don't know. Maybe he's still. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the list. But we did a long time ago, Cleet, if you remember, we had a guest on the podcast who wrote a few episodes of the show. So I do want to check it out.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that was Felicia, if you remember her, way back, early days of the podcast. Um, yeah, I do want to check it out. I'll give it a shot eventually. It looks kind of cool, but yeah, hopefully 3's cool. Um, Any other like last thoughts about Gremlins 2?
I love it. I'll defend it. It's right up there with sequels that a lot of people don't seem to like I do. I'll defend Alien 3.
Hmm?
That's a flag that I will plant uh, pretty solidly. Gremlins 2, I love it. Yeah, all about it.
Does what a good sequel's supposed to do.
Yeah, I agree. I do. I feel like it's not always like pop culturally held up in as high of esteem, but I think it was awesome. Like it rules. Um, I had a thought about the theme that I don't know how intentional, if there's even a thing that, or I'm just making this up in my head, but I feel like I have heard people talk about in terms like a lot of movies in the 80s of just like the idea of like, oh, like Western narratives kind of like using Asian inspired concepts. Like there's like an appropriation element to that. But this movie, with how much it breaks the fourth wall and is self-aware, there's like the whole like plot of Clamp being like, I am going to take Chinatown and make it like my like Americanized version of Chinatown. Is that like its own meta commentary on like the appropriation of like Asian inspired concepts in film? Kind of Gremlins does in a sense, or am I overthinking it?
Yeah, I'm hesitant to because this doesn't again like this doesn't feel like a commentary on anything other than just kind of like a sly nod.
I don't know if it's a
You know what I
commentary.
mean? Like,
I'm not sure if it's a commentary or just like again like a hey, we're breaking the fourth wall and like acknowledging the thing that we do.
oh, it missed me then. It went over my head if that's what it was.
Oh, I thought about it when I was seeing like all the designs for like the remodeled Chinatown. Yeah, that's when it hit me.
I think it comes back around. I think the Clamp character,
Mhm.
even at the end of the film where he sees the drawing that Billy has done of Kingston Falls, and he's like, "What is this?" Oh, I see Clamp Corners where life slows to a crawl. But I know that in 20 years' time, Clamp Corners is going to be like fully automated, and the garage doors that are going to open by themselves, and everyone's going to have those electric thermostats. And I think he's a flawed character in seeing something new and shiny and being like, "Oh my god, that's what I
I want
want!
that thing. Yeah,
Now that's what I want." Yeah,
that's that. I mean,
but
that's realistically yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Also, last thing I got to say about the Clamp thing: his office doors, the automatic office doors, they use the old TOS Enterprise automatic doors sound.
did they?
Yeah,
Gosh, see, there's always something I pick up on
yeah.
every time. You know what? I didn't even pick up on until you said it in this podcast. I love Of Mice and Men, and I didn't even put Lenny and George together. I was like, yeah, one's called Lenny, one's called George. I didn't realize that, and now I feel like a fool.
It's okay now, right? That's why you do podcasts.
Now I know, but I love it.
Oh, that's fun. This was a good one. Speaking of good ones, Khalid,
yeah.
let's move on to our fight or flirt segment. Tell us about it.
Yeah, thanks for asking, Joe. Fight or Flirt is a segment that we like to do on here. It's kind of exactly what it sounds like. Would I fight with the monster we're talking about or flirt with them to save myself? I honestly can't remember what I said for the first Gremlins, so this might be a complete retread or I'm just betraying my own like stance. I think they're so funny. I would just be insecure like the whole time in that relationship. And I kept thinking about it while watching it. I'm like, not like I have to be the funny one in a dynamic, but like if I'm not the funny one, or at the very least, like every once in a while, like get the opportunity to be the funny one, I just don't think that like my best joke like lasts a second with these guys. So I would just be really in my head in a way that I think would not make me a great partner for them. So like I'm sparing them by fighting them. So I would fight them because I can't hang. They're too hilarious.
Fair answer. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you had like a gremlin partner, I'd probably want to get them as the podcast co-host instead.
You'd be right to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'd always be like, dang, are you really my friend or are you just like trying to get to my gremlin partner?
Anyway, fair answer. I love it. Yeah, I'd have to go back and listen to what your answer for the last one was, but I don't remember.
Let the listeners know.
All right, we will move on to our very final segment of the series of the show, our what the fandom segment, in which we just share one or two things that we are just into at the moment that may or may not have anything to do with monsters or gremlins or what have you. Dominic, I'll let you go last because it's usually the thing I forget to tell our guests about. Khalid, what the fandom with you this week?
Thanks for asking, Joe. My What the Fandom this week is going to be the newest Andre 3000 album, Seven Piano Sketches. It's a very fun, like the flute album that he did before this. This one's all piano based, and he's just messing around and stuff. It's just really charming to see this guy that was like such a like technically just like unbeatable lyricist and performer in hip hop, just in a nice, pleasant place in retirement. You know, I feel like he wears it really well, and this album is a testament to that. It's, there's nothing groundbreaking on it. I'm sure there are better pianists that you could name, but it's the joy that he like kind of exudes through playing it. And it comes down to like how irreverent he is with everything. There's a track on here literally called When You're Aunt and You Wake Up in an Awesome Mood about to drive your son to school, only to discover that you left the lights on the car last night so your battery is drained. Like, that's just the name of a song. Like, I don't I love that for him, and I don't know. There's something just like beautiful about like seeing like this like hip hop icon just kind of like showing a progression that isn't necessarily usually seen with some of these rap old heads. So yeah, if you're just looking for something fun and irreverent and just a reminder that art should be fun and irreverent, check out Seven Piano Sketches by Andre 3000. Joe, what the fandom with you?
Thanks for asking, Khalid. I love that you recommended that. I recently just rewatched. This is not my fandom, by the way, but I recently rewatched Semi Pro, the Will Ferrell one with Andre 3000. That was I don't know if I'd say that was charming, but it did remind me why I like him so much. He's like he's a really fun actor too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's great. My fandom this week is actually going to be a show that I recently started called Dark Winds. It's on AMC, but you can also find the first two seasons on Netflix. It's kind of like a neo noir, like murder mystery psychological thriller series based on a series of novels by Tony Hillerman. I think they're from the 70s, but it's basically a murder mystery takes place entirely like on the Navajo reservations, almost entirely Native American cast and crew. A lot of the language that they speak in it is Dene, in like the Navajo language. And so like a lot of that like culturally is really interesting, and it kind of dives into the mythology. There's like a twinge of supernatural to it that makes it kind of interesting. The lead is Zach McLaren, phenomenal actor. He's been in a ton of stuff. I think he was actually in season 2 of Fargo, if you remember him there. Yeah,
Yeah, he was great in that.
he is so good, but he's the lead. He's like the lead in this, and I feel like just like earning his stripes as this, like a leading man, like he rules. But great first season. I just finished season 1. Really cool. It's produced by Robert Redford and George R. Martin. So there's some interesting like talent behind the camera, or just like in terms of like funneling the money into it. But I really liked it. Really excited to see season 2. Season 3 just ended, and it was renewed for 4. So there will be a 4 coming out, and very eager to see. It's like they're short. Like season 1 was 6 episodes, so I got through it pretty quick. But I would highly recommend it if you're interested in like a kind of like a dark psychological thriller with elements of supernatural, which is kind of what I was exactly looking for. And it's like a small window, but I was like, this really fit the bill for that. So Dark Winds, check it out. Dominic, what the fandom with you?
Hi. Gosh, I've been watching lots of nerdy stuff. I've been watching Andor, which I've been loving. That's now appointment TV viewing on Tuesday nights, but I guess it's almost at an end already. And then I've been watching The Last of Us on Sunday evenings, and my fiance just died in it in last night's episode,
Oh,
um, which was fun to watch if you like watching your fiance getting gutted and their entrails coming out. He's fine. Everyone calm down. And then, in a complete non sequitur, I got the Shire Lego Hobbit set, which I've been putting together, which is delightful. That's what's the fandom with me.
Shire Lego Hobbit set. That's I mean array of like things that you just recommended that I love. Yeah. Your
Yeah,
fiance getting
I
gutted
love
and
nerdy
Legos.
stuff. Yeah,
You contain
You
multitudes.
really do. You really
yeah,
do.
just like Gremlins too.
Way to pull it full circle. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done. Are you so you're working on the Lego set? Is it done? It's not done yet.
I built the main Shire set. Here's where we're gonna get real nerdy
Okay, here we
now.
go.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, Lego. It's not the best Lego set in terms of size and scale. The Rivendell and Barad-dûr sets are gorgeous,
Ah,
and I think this one is sort of a step down quality wise. But um, there are websites where people will do what they call mock sets, where they add additions, and so I bought the mock set to make the bag end tree look a little more lush and add more leaves to it. And I got a little extension for bag end, so I put that together, and it sits above my aquarium. And now I'm going to sort of go whole hog and try and do the whole Shire and do a little diorama of the Black Rider and the four hobbits underneath the tree, and maybe get some lighting kits for it. I'm going to go all out.
amazing.
Wow.
I look forward to the pictures.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you again, Dominic, for being willing to come back. I know you have a busy schedule, you're working a lot, and you're doing all sorts of really cool shit. So we appreciate you making the time to come on our little monster podcast and talk Gremlins with us.
No, I love it. Thank you for asking me. It's always a delight. Anytime I get to talk about stuff that I love, I'm in.
We totally got to get you back on the other Star Trek podcast sometime soon, too.
Yes, please. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Is there anything else? I know you kind of got the chance to plug projects and stuff, but is there, I mean, I know you're on Instagram, any other social media kind of things you want to plug?
I'm on Instagram and sometimes Blue Sky. It's mostly
Yeah.
Instagram now. It's a whole lot of cats. It's a lot of cat content, and yeah, little bits of work when it comes around.
Cool. We'll go follow Dominic. He's great. Cats are great. I love the content. So Khalid, will you give us a little Patreon plug and then close us out?
Sure thing. So, yeah, guys, if you are not already subscribed to our Patreon and you want to support your Frankensteins, please, by all means, go and become a patron. We have tiers. You can do it as little as $1 a month. Any amount helps, really. Just kind of fuel this enterprise of ours. Joe has already been able to purchase an upgraded new mic once his sadly broke because of the contributions. Thank you to our producer tier contributors as well. Every bit of support is truly appreciated. It is a very small run thing here, and we do it for the love of the game. And yeah, with that said, thank you, Dominic, for joining us. This was such an awesome discussion. Thank you all, as always, for listening. And until next time, creep it easy.